Now,
wait a minute.
we're going to start by going over the format of the midterm so you're all clear as to what you can expect. First, if you're going to ask me to print it out, please don't ask me.
No, if I scroll down, will it come up?
Now, you're going to have 4 parts of the exam. Okay? I want you to be all clear so Tuesday, there are no real questions about this. The first part are going to be 10 true or false. Okay? 10 true or false. You're simply going to write the full word, true or false. If I see a T or an F, you're not going to get credit. Is that clear? Everybody understand that right now? Okay, I do not want to see T and F because a lot of you have somewhat poor handwriting and I can't tell the difference. True or false. One has 5 letters, one has 4 letters. Then I can tell the difference. Part 2 is going to be 20 short answer. And what that means is it's simply going to be right or wrong. It's not multiple choice, but it's just like multiple choice. Okay? They're only worth 1 point each. So if you look at your point breakdown, you're going to see that true or false are worth 10 points total. Short answer are worth 20 points total. That's the first 30 points of your test. The short answer are problems that you could expect like simple factoring. So factoring like an example with difference of squares. Or maybe simplifying an equation like we did in the last test. So simplifying something like 3x squared y to the 4th over 2x y to the 2nd. Simplifications like that. Those are the short answer types. So it's simply right or wrong. And I'm going to show you what your answer booklet's going to look like in a minute. And you'll see how this correlates. The test itself, okay, the test itself is going to have nowhere to write answers on. You're going to have an answer booklet. It's not a blue book. It's an answer booklet that I actually made up. So it's very easy to see, and you'll see all the correlations, okay? I'll go to that in a second so you can see. That's parts 1 and 2. Part 3 is going to be 12 questions that are considered long answer. And by long answer, I mean there's some work involved. So for part 3, you can get partial credit. So for part 3, you are to show work. Okay, for part 3, make sure you show work. 2.5 points each. You can get partial credit for any correct work. If you have all the incorrect work, you're not going to get partial credit, obviously. Okay, if all your work is wrong. Part 4 are going to be your long answer, or free response, rather. Okay, free response meaning it's like the word problem type questions. There are going to be 8 of them. The first 2 you must answer. The first 2 you must answer. All the directions will be written on the test too. The next 6, you're going to choose 3 of them. You're going to write the word omit on the 3 that you wish to exclude. Everybody knows what omit means. It means I don't want to answer this. So on the 3 problems that you choose not to answer at the end, you're going to write in big letters omit. If you do not write omit, I will grade the first 3, even if they are all blank. Is that clear? Yes. I will only grade the first 3 if you don't write omit. Write the word omit. Even if you only answer the last 3 and you don't write omit, I'm grading 3 blank questions. You're going to get no credit. You need to follow the directions and write the word omit. It's in the directions in the section. It's on the front cover here. Your proctor will also state these directions. You're going to hear it 3 times. Make sure 4 times because it's on your answer booklet also. Write the word omit. Okay? Joe.
There's no Scantron involved. Can we please?
There is no Scantron involved.
Can we please do the test in pen?
No, it's in pencil.
How many points do we lose?
Don't do it. It's not going to be great if it's in pen, Joe. The reason it's in pencil is because you're given an answer booklet and you only have a certain amount of space. And if you need to make a mistake, it's not going to have enough room to scribble it out and put something new. Okay? And I'm going to show you what it looks like, the first page. Not the test, the answer booklet. And you're going to see why you need to write in pencil because you're going to have to erase if you make a mistake. Patrick, you got a hand up.
I was going to ask how you spell omit.
Sorry, yeah. O-M-I-T, not E-T, because I could see it being E-T, omit. All right, so I'm going to show you what the answer booklet looks like now. Okay, the answer. So the first page of your answer booklet looks like this. Your score is going to be recorded in the top, and that's going to be for me to write in. So sections 1 and 2 are 30 problems. So numbers 1 through 10, I'm just going to see the words true or false. Numbers 11 through 30 here is just going to be your short answer. You're just going to write your answer on the line. So for example, say your answer for this is not the answer. I don't even know what the problem is. But the answer for number 12, say it's x squared y to the 3rd. That's what your answer would look like. Say number 6 is true. You write true and maybe write in all caps. You don't have to, but I would write in all caps so it's clear. But it doesn't matter. Just write the full word out. That's parts 1 and 2. Parts 3 and 4, you're going to have a lot more room because you have to show work. So I'll show you the page now. Part 3 is your long answer. And if there's A, B, and C in any parts, you'll see that I wrote A, B, and C. So number 31, there is no A, B, and C. But number 32, there's A and B. Number 33, you have to graph. So there's a graph there. Number 34, I can tell you now, that's the one with the steps to the problems. We have to write like inverse property of multiplication or commutative property or property of equality or whatever it may be. That's number 34. And there's 5 steps, each worth a half point.
Are we going to need to know like vocabulary words for the test?
You need to know terms for sure, but you're not going to be asked to define something. But you might be asked like, you know, trying to think of an example without giving anything away.
Give it away. It's okay.
Well, what's a vocab term that you guys can think of? I'll give you an example. Give me a vocab term that you can think of. Domain. Okay. Like, for example, for true or false, this is the variable that represents this is the set of numbers represented by the independent variable, domain. Okay? So, and I'd write this, the domain is the set of numbers represented by the independent variable. That would be true. Okay, the domain is the independent variable. So by default, you do need to know the vocabulary, but you're not going to be asked to define it explicitly. Okay? Does that make sense? So in the context of the problem. All right, let's take a look at the page. So 35, 36 are just, long answer, but 37 has parts A, B, and C. So you'll see parts A, B, and C. Is this clear as the setup? Okay, so even this is part, let me scroll down. Okay. This is not the free response. This is just those long answer. But number 37, this is worth, I think if I remember correctly, 1, 1.5, and 1.5. Okay? Which makes this total, or no, sorry, that can't be right.
Is it 2.5 question?
2.5 per question. So 1, 1, and then it may be 0.5. Okay? So that's what it would be worth. But again, it's always told. Every problem is given to you with point distribution. Okay? Any general questions about format? I want to add one last thing. Okay, one last thing. So, on the test itself, you're going to be given the test and then the answer booklet. They are going to be paper-clipped together. They already are. I already have them all done. Your proctor will give it to you that way. Please turn it in that way. So at the end of the test, you have the test document and you have the answer booklet document. Put them back together as one document, one in front of the other. And please paperclip them together. That's when you hand it back into your proctor. Okay? On your answer booklet, you're going to see that there's a slot for your name at the top of every page. Please put your name there. How come I'm asking you to do that? Who can answer that?
Easier to grade.
Yeah, and why else? What else could happen? Maybe. Ryan. Yeah, what if a page gets separated? Or if you rip apart your pages? That's fine, as long as you paperclip it back together. But put your name at the top of every page. Okay? And the pages are printed double-sided so we don't waste paper. So there's only a name slot on the front side. You don't have to put your name on the front and back. That's redundant. Okay? So you see a name slot at the top of every front page. Okay? There's also a name slot only on the front of your test booklet because you don't have to write on this. But if you want to show any scrap work, say for part 1 or 2, where there's no, be careful, where there's no partial credit, okay, you can write all over the test. You guys can write everywhere you want on this test. But I'm physically not going to look at your test. I'm telling you that now. Over break on Tuesday, when you turn these in, I'm going to bring home your answer booklets, not even bring home your test document. So anything you write on here is not going to be graded. Okay? Please make sure you understand that clearly. And it's stated in the directions, and your proctor is going to tell you that. Okay? If you finish your test early, you can turn it in at 2 hours. That's when you can turn it in and you can leave. Okay? If you're not done at 2 hours, you have to wait the whole full 2.5 hours. Your proctor is not going to start collecting tests at different times. Okay? But do not rush to get it done after 2 hours. Please hang out and check it over. If say you finish your test after an hour and a half, and you have a half an hour to check it over, then turn it in. But if you finish your test after an hour and 50 minutes, please don't turn it in after 2 hours. Spend the 40 minutes checking over your test. Okay? I would literally check over every problem. When I used to take tests in high school, I checked over every single problem. Every one. Hannah.
Are you going to give credit if something isn't reduced or isn't in the right format?
If the problem says simplify completely, and you put something down, say the answer you write down is this.
2x over x.
Is that simplified completely? You will not get credit. Especially because a lot of those occur as short answer, where it's right or wrong. That is wrong. This is right. Okay? This is wrong. This is right. When it says simplify completely, you better simplify completely.
What if it doesn't say simplify completely?
Then you don't have to simplify completely.
Yeah, but seriously, you guys have a serious problem with this.
I think every problem that needs to be simplified says it. Okay? Pretty sure everything does. Okay, your textbook says it also though. Okay, but Hannah's making a really good point here. Please listen to it, okay? Like if you wrote, if the problem says find the height after 3 seconds of the projectile, and that's a really good point. If it says find the height of the projectile after 2 seconds, and you write this down. Okay? Some people have done that, okay? What's the answer? The answer is 11. Okay? Even though it doesn't say simplify completely, you're probably going to lose a point out of the 8 points for not doing that. Okay? When it says find the height is not 4 plus 7, the height is 11. Okay? In units of meters. Units. Automatic 1 point off if you don't put the units on your answer. So if the problem says find the dimensions of the new rectangle, and the answer is, or let's say,
I'm about to lose another 8
okay? Write down your units. Sorry?
No, I'm about to lose another 10 points out of
Your final answer needs to have units.
So just put it at the end.
Sure. But you know what a lot of people do? They forget it at the end because they don't show it during their steps. So be careful. And that's why you should take a long period of time to check over your test. Checking over is not necessarily redoing the problems, but it's saying, is it reduced? Do I have units? Does my answer make sense? That's what checking over a test does. And if a problem says, solve for X and check your answer, and you don't check your answer, you're going to lose points because that's part of the question itself. Hannah.
One more thing.
Go ahead.
Not switch between variables in problem.
Good point.
That is so annoying.
Very good point. If a problem is all in X and you write Y everywhere and you write Y equals, okay, it's not going to make sense, right? Or if you, for example, you say X and Y is the length and width, and then at the end you write L equals and W equals. That doesn't make any sense, okay? But if you wrote the word the length is and the width is, that's fine. But make sure you are cognizant of your variables that you choose. It's up to you to choose your variables in problems where you're given geometric examples.
If there's a problem when we're given variables, can we switch the variables to do it and then in the answer have the original variables?
What do you mean?
Like when I write z's, they look like 2's, then I get messed up. Because I've done that, right? So just like
I can understand that for Z's. I don't think I did anything with Z's, to be honest. I think I did everything X, Y, A, and B. But that's fine. But again, as long as your final answer has the right variables, and make a statement at the beginning, I'm calling Z A for terms of simplicity, that's fine. But just be very clear with what you're doing. Okay?
I was going to say, can we do that with B's? Because B's look like 6's.
Yeah. As long as it's clear. Just make a statement, please, okay? If you ever change anything with a problem, make a statement, okay?
The one thing you shouldn't do is switch between B and X in between your problem. It's okay to do X the entire way and then for your answer write B if you tell them. But you guys, in your problem sets, have switched between like A and Z.
And then left it in the answer.
And then I got A and Z equals
Yep.
like 62.
Okay? All right. Let's start going over questions from chapter 4 and then part of 5 if we get to it. Sure.
Free response to those.
Yep.
Like the 8 pointers or whatever?
All right, let's do an example where a triangle
Who spoke? Who spoke? I'm sorry. I can't see it.
Calm down.
has dimensions of 4 meters and 8 meters for the base and height, respectively. You're waiting for that word, right? Joe, explain to us what respectively means.
4 meters is the base, 8 meters is the height.
Good. In that order, please. In order. The word respectively means that 4 is the base and 8 is the height. It does not mean that the base is smaller and the height is bigger. It does not matter. The base could be bigger, the height could be bigger. It does not matter which is bigger. It means the order in which the material was presented. Okay? Now, if the base is increased by the same quantity as the height is increased, as the height is increased, in the new triangle
Has an area of
is 42 square meters larger
This is just getting more confusing.
I am recording, right? Okay, perfect. And the new triangle, this is actually easy, you shouldn't skip this one. And the new triangle is 42 meters square larger than the original.
It doesn't really. You can just write OG.
Find the new dimensions. So, what helps in these kinds of problems? Somebody start me off, please. What really helps? Ian.
Let statements.
Good. Let statements, okay? Let statements.
So that's credit.
So, if it's base and height, what variables might you want to use? B and H. Now, I know, Kate, you said you don't like to use B. That's fine. Use X and Y. I don't care. It's up to you, okay?
F and H.
Sure. For Mr. Howell.
Yes. I was thinking Mark Howell. Yeah, Mr. Howell. I won't do that.
You can use whatever you want.
We're gonna use J and S.
Okay?
I know all the room narcissists.
Now, let B equal the base and let H equal the height. Okay? For this kind of a problem, we know the base and we know the height. The original base was what?
4.
So B is just 4, really. So these are not our variables. Is that clear? A lot of people want to start with this. This one makes this tougher. What is H originally?
18.
So we know those. But we know, what are we trying to figure out?
What are the variables when the triangle is 42 meters square?
Yeah, or the new dimensions, let's say. The new dimensions. And they're both increased by the same amount. So let's define a variable that is the increased amount. X. Okay, that is not the amount of area increase, but the amount of increase of each dimension. So, I'm going to draw a diagram now, because I always like to draw diagrams, they make more sense. So here's my original triangle. Is that clear? The original triangle?
Yes.
What would the new triangle's dimensions say? And I'm going to draw it looks the same size, even though it's not.
X equals X.
Good, Joe. Is that clear? Okay, again, they are both increased by the same amount. Now, at this point in time is when you go to your equations. Or equation, yes. We are told that the new area is how much bigger? 42 units squared or meters squared. So, the new area right? The new area, 1/2 times base times height, is
42 meters squared.
42 bigger than the old area. And let me just write this out because I think it might cause some confusion if I don't. I'll write it out. I'm going to highlight and speak at the same time. The new area, right here. This is the new area. 1/2, new base, new height, is 42 square units bigger than the old area. Okay? And now we're just solving a quadratic. That's all this is. I hope the numbers work out because I just picked them randomly. So, I don't want to worry about the 1/2 with the quadratic. It's so messy.
Multiply each side by 2.
Good. And multiply everything by 2, please.
Well, wouldn't it just cancel?
On the left side, it cancels. Yes, Joe.
But on the right
Now, I'm going to show you something. Before you multiply the right side by 2, get a number. What is 4 times 8?
16.
What is 4 times 8?
32.
What is half of 32?
16.
16 and 42.
58.
Give me 58.
116.
Half or double 58 is 1/16. Make it a lot easier on you. Because a lot of people are forgetting to distribute and stuff. Make it easier, okay? Now this is easier. If you want to solve for the x in a quadratic, we need what on one side?
0.
0. There it is. FOIL the left-hand side. 4 times 8 is 32. Inner terms are going to be 4x and 8x. And then you have an x squared, and that equals 1/16. Sorry. Okay, collect like terms. Put it in order. I'm about to move the 1/16 over, if that's what you're asking. Yeah, you can't move it over, Ian, ahead of time, right? You got to FOIL first. Okay. 32 minus 1/16. 8 negative 84, I presume. Check me, please. Should be right. Yeah. Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, for a problem like this on your test, the numbers will work out so you can factor it. Are there any numbers that multiply to 84 and add up to 12? I don't think so, to be honest. Again, I just made these numbers randomly. I apologize. Okay. 7 and 12 give me 84, but that does not add up to 12. About 18. Is 18 multiplied to 84? No.
1 and 84.
About 22. No. 21 and 4, but that doesn't add up to 12. All right, I apologize. Numbers don't work out. Again, I made it up. Do we see the process, though? At this point in time, you would find your factors. Again, this is, I'm going to write not the answer, but let's write a hypothetical. Okay? Let's hypothetically say that our factors turn out to be this. This is not the answer. Is everybody clear? This is not the answer. Okay, let's say that turned out to be our variables. You would have x equals negative 12 and x equals 7. Now, can you have a negative dimension here? Okay? It said the dimension of increase. So this is not your answer. So x would be 7 in this case.
And then you have to put 7 back in.
Yes. Remember, though, that our original dimensions were 4 and 8. Were 4 and 8. So our new dimensions would be 11 and 15. Again, not the answer. The original dimensions were 4 by 8. This is the amount of increase, 7. So the new answer would be amount of increase, which is 4 plus 7 gives you 11. And 8 plus 7 gives you 15. Okay? I'm telling you now, this is not a problem that you can omit. This is one of the first two. So you're going to have to do this. Okay, you're going to have to do this. There are some problems in your textbook in chapter 4 with problem solving that are like this, maybe you should go and study those over the weekend. Okay? And it will work out. Yes, Joe, it will work out. I already make the solution before I make the test. So I check the numbers to make sure they work. Okay? Well, I'll make the problem, but I mean, like, I don't finish my test. As I make the problem, I make the answer. Always. So I'll pick a problem and I'll make up some numbers and I'll make sure that they work. And there are ways to make them work. I just pick numbers randomly this time.
So how you know Mr. Kyoto last year sent? Could you do that mistakenly?
No.
Yeah.
He meant to send a study guide or something?
No, he meant to send a copy of the midterm to his Bucky Lawson, but he forwarded it to all the French level students. Something you would do, though. I mean, it's something you would do.
Other questions?
You should learn from Cecil.
Height function. Height function.
Call me that name.
Oh my god, I can't believe we're done with
Wait,
I know, I'm gonna cry.
Oh my god, I'm gonna go
Wait, no, wait, that was our last class.
Yeah, we're right. Last class.
No!
We should have a target.
I think possible computers is the worst part of our life.
Oh my god. You know, maybe we don't get into section though.
Okay.
I think it's the same stuff. Wait,
Now.
Mr. Howell, do we switch sections after
No.
Oh.
Do you switch sections?
Yeah, like our section.
No, you don't section because your schedules are the same so that you have those random classes
Let's
at
go
the
in
same time.
J-Works. Great.
So you always have a class, you always have your main classes at the same time, so all of those three that you have the same.
I heart section too.
What's the difference in these two formulas for the height function? Who remembers? Jared.
One is feet and one is in meters.
Good. This is always measuring. My height is in feet and this is in meters. You do not need to memorize these, but you need to know. Okay? So, how do you know that? Because Jared remembers from the work we did, or you remember that this is half of the acceleration due to gravity
What?
in meters per second.
Remember that is half the acceleration due to gravity.
Yep. Okay? But I'm telling you now, you'll be given, okay? You'll be given it.
That is just crazy, bro.
So, you need to know what to do with this, though. So let's take a look at an example. Okay?
Ian, give me
Is it really cold in here? I'll call you.
Yeah, that's what we do. Less than
I'm guaranteed 40.
Don't open the window that much, guys.
Oh, sorry.
It's a little bit... I know it's warm for some people, but some people don't feel too well. No, Joe. Leave it. Just switch seats real quick. That's fine. So everybody's happy.
The breeze is perfect.
Uh-huh.
My view of you is wonderful.
Because I said I was cold, so he did that to be obnoxious.
So it's closed now. Good. All right. An object is fired from the ground to a cliff. Let's say not 40, but 80. Thank you for the entertainment. All right. Stop, gentlemen. An object is fired from the ground to a cliff that is 80 feet above ground level. If the initial velocity stop, Ian. If the initial velocity is 32 feet per second upward, determine the time it will take to reach the cliff.
How many decimals do we have to go into?
Okay. It's going to be made so you can factor it for these problems, so there won't even be a decimal here. Okay, it'll be a whole number answer. All right. So what helps to do here? Draw yourself a nice little picture. Okay. You'll be given the formula. Okay, you'll be given the formula. So you're going to get this. That's going to be given to you on the test. If it's in feet, if it's in meters, you'll be given the other formula. Okay? So what we have to do is identify certain things. Okay, I'm going to draw myself a nice picture so I can see what's going on. An object is fired from ground level up to a cliff. The cliff's height is 80 feet. It's fired with some initial velocity v0. Okay? So, Joe, tell me what I can do here.
Well, I have a question.
Yeah.
This is what I mean. Like, for this problem, do we have to do work? Because I could look at those numbers and give you an answer.
Are you sure?
32 feet per second, 8 upward point.
Yeah, it's initial velocity.
So what's the answer, Joe?
2.5.
I don't think it is 2.5 for this.
Can I just say one thing?
You're doing 32 times 2.5. You're telling me that 32 times 2.5, that gives you 80, but you're neglecting the other right-hand side of the equation. Minus 16t squared. It's not 2.5. Okay? Be careful.
For those like 8 questions, if you think you definitely have the answer for your calculator, go right ahead and know that you can get partial credit for whatever you write. So
Correct. And if it's wrong, you just put something down, you get no points. So you're going to plug in this 32 right here. The height of the cliff is 80 meters positive. Plug it in here. It's a quadratic. Factor out a 16. 16 goes into all those numbers. Okay? Oops.
Wait, on our actual tests and stuff, we made
Yes, it will factor out. Factor out your GCF of 16 and then solve. Have a good day, guys. Oops. The next page, 39, 40, 41, and 42 are just no problems. Now, we get to 43 and 44. These are the first two problems in free response. You must answer 43 and 44 and take a look. You know that there's going to be graphing. And I'm going to tell you right now, you want a little hint, something to study? This will be graphing inequalities. So just for an example, something like this. Yes. Okay? Maybe practice that tonight. We did linear functions yesterday, so we're not going to do this today. But just to practice that example tonight. Okay? And the other class doesn't have class today, but they're going to watch this video, so they'll know to practice this also. Or over the weekend, whenever. In one of these kinds of problems, this is not the answer, but these are the answers where you have something like this. Oh, that would be dashed. Let me hold on, let me fix that. Because I'm graphing the first one there. 2x plus 1, so say you have your x and y axis, would look something like this. Okay, a dashed line. And that's going to be less than, so you would shade everything underneath here. And then the other one, let me look real quick. If I move that over, it's going to be a negative slope with a y-intercept of around 1. So that's going to be up here. All right, so this one is going to look like this. The bottom answer looks something like this. And it's everything greater than, so that would be shading in this region. So where do those two shaded regions overlap, Ryan? On the right, on the top, on the left, or on the bottom?
I mean, it was the first quadrant mostly.
Okay, so this would be like your solution set right here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you label that with an S. And on your test, it's going to tell you, label the solution set with an S. And where is the solution set to multiple inequalities? It's where the two regions overlap. Okay? It's where they overlap. How do you figure out where they intersect? If I were to ask you, how do you figure out this intersection point? What can you do?
Go on the calculator and find the intersect point.
Yeah, you can use the intersect function on the calculator. That's one way. What's another way to find out where two functions intersect? Yeah, you solve them simultaneously. So use substitution method. Take this, plug it in maybe right there, and solve for x and y. So either solve simultaneous equations using substitution, elimination, or matrix, or use the intersect function on your calculator. Okay, I'm telling you now that that's what that problem is going to be like.
Oh, that's what B is
Okay?
going to be?
That's what part B is going to be for that one. Okay, so part A is going to find the solution set. Part B is going to be, but it's going to be a different problem. It's not going to be these numbers. Okay? Any questions on this part? Ian?
Like when is our interns?
Tuesday.
Oh, they're good. I know, right? MLK is all math. If I it's going to be.
MLK a day is all math. Go ahead, Joe.
If I did this like all calculator and showed no work, what would happen? Like, would I still get credit for it?
I want you to show work as far as like labeling points. So like you should label maybe your y-intercept and a point on there. Okay?
Are we gonna
Read the directions. If the direction, I forget what I wrote exactly, but if the directions say show 2 points on the line, then you should show 2 points on the line. But you can use your calculator as much as possible, but just follow the directions.
Okay, I know we get that's the exact graph again. Do we have to write the x-y-axis, label them, write 0?
Yeah, so like XY axis, you should have this. This is what you should have at a minimum. Is that clear? Okay? So if you use one box to represent one unit on the X, label at least 1, and then I know it goes by ones. But if you're going by 2s for each box, label a 2 here. If you're going by 3s, label a 3, etc., etc. Okay? But you only have to label it once. Number 44, you must also answer. I'm telling you now. Here's what number 44 will be. It will be a geometric word problem with quadratics. For example, a rectangle or an example with a triangle. Okay?
Oh, I guess
You should know the area of those, yeah.
Third base times that.
Okay?
1/2 base. Oh, third's like the purism.
Yeah, you don't have to know any of those thirds and stuff. I'll give you those. But look, these two you should know. And you know how you remember a rectangle? I mean, a triangle, it's half of a rectangle. You all see that?
Yeah.
Right? You cut a rectangle in half when you get 2 triangles. So look at the formulas. They're very similar. Okay? But remember that the height in a triangle is the perpendicular height here. Okay? So again, and we'll do an example of that today. So those 2 you must answer. Now, what are the directions on the next page? Choose 3 of the next 6. Write omit on the problems you wish to exclude. So say you don't want to do number 45. Is that clear? That's clear as daylight, okay? Say you want to do 46, you answer. You don't want to do 47. And you don't want to do 48, maybe also. Okay, which means that you are... Let me just jump to the slide, hold on. Let's go. The last 2 then, 49. Whoops, sorry. It means that you would be doing 49 and 50. Okay? These problems are all multi-step, you can see. It's going to be A, B, C, D, etc. And it might be useful to look at all the problem parts before you decide to do it, because, I'll tell you now, these might be very easy. But these might be very difficult. So you might want to make your decision as to what you're going to answer before you start doing all this work, and then you get to part C and D and you're like, I don't know what to do with C and D. So please read the problems before you decide. You have 2.5 hours. The test is only made for 2 hours. This is the equivalent of 2.5 of my normal tests. Normal tests are 45 minutes. So, normal tests are 45, another test is 45, and another approximately 22.5. That sums up to be 1 hour and 52 minutes and a half. You're getting 2.5 hours. So use your time wisely. Don't start a part 4, or free response before you look at all the possible numbers. Is that clear? Okay? Use your time wisely.
Is there like a definition of point? Like for 49 is 8 points, so
It'll say. Every problem will say, yes. So 49, it might be 2, 2, 2, 2. It might be 1, 1, 3, 3. But it says it on the test. It says it explicitly what each section is worth and what each subsection is worth. Even part 2 and...
I was setting